There is a framework beneath existence that does not sit behind the world like a hidden machine, but moves through it the way breath moves through a living body. It is not a structure made of laws or mechanics. It is a pattern of becoming, a self-renewing intelligence that teaches through motion rather than instruction. And every realm you have ever touched, whether through incarnation, memory, dream, or oversoul descent, is shaped by this pattern. It is the spiral, not as a symbol or an idea, but as the underlying behavior of consciousness as it organizes reality. You have sensed this long before you had language for it. You felt it when life refused to move in straight lines, when events seemed to loop back with new insight, when lessons repeated with increasing precision, until a moment of breakthrough opened a path that had always been waiting for you to catch up. These moments were not random. They were expressions of the spiral teaching you its rhythm, long before you realized you were listening. The spiral does not force awakening. It positions insight at precise angles of experience until your awareness meets it. It reveals itself in timing and pattern, in the quiet return of lessons you thought you had already ended. When you find yourself in a repeated emotional landscape, a familiar conflict or a recurring moment of choice, you are not failing or regressing. You are moving through a spiral turn, revisiting the same center from a higher vantage. The spiral is the architecture of return without repetition, growth without departure, evolution without abandoning what came before. It does not erase your past. It elevates it. Each turn widens the field of identity, adding new dimensions to what you once could only survive. Now you begin to understand why your life has unfolded the way it has. You were never walking a line. You were climbing a spiral. The spiral framework does not only shape human development, it shapes the behavior of realms themselves. Every dimension, whether physical, astral, conceptual, or pre-manifest, is held together by a spiral blueprint encoded into the tone that seeded it. This blueprint determines how awareness escalates, how memory returns, how identity expands, and how consciousness moves toward coherence. Realms with rigid spiral curvature produce linear civilizations that struggle with recurrence, because their growth cycles are compressed into narrow arcs that feel repetitive and restrictive. Realms with open spiral curvature create fluid civilizations where time behaves more like a conversation than a sequence, allowing beings to revisit past states without losing their present identity. And realms with wide, multidimensional spiral curvature allow expansion in several directions at once, creating oversoul-level experiences where many lives unfold simultaneously without contradiction. The spiral is not geometry. Geometry only imitates it. The spiral is a behavior of source awareness, the natural way consciousness folds itself into form. It emerges whenever awareness seeks to understand itself, whenever identity deepens, whenever a being reaches toward a greater truth and finds that the path there curves through everything they once were. This is why your greatest progress always came after a return to your own depths. This is why the lessons that shaped you most strongly were the ones that brought you back to places you had avoided. The spiral does not push you forward. It draws you inward, toward the center where your true expansion begins. When a realm forms, the spiral blueprint determines how beings within that realm experience growth. In realms with high density, the spiral is hidden within physical cause and effect, creating slow, deliberate cycles of learning. In realms with medium density, the spiral reveals itself through synchronicity, intuition, and relational coherence, allowing beings to rise through several spiral turns within one lifetime. In realms with low density or high fluidity, the spiral is visible in every movement of awareness, allowing beings to restructure their identity with the same ease that they restructure thought. Earth sits within a transitional spiral curvature, where density and fluidity are both present, creating the pressure that so many incarnated beings feel as internal conflict, emotional acceleration, and sudden bursts of clarity. You are living in a realm where the spiral is no longer hiding. Because the spiral framework governs return and elevation, it also governs memory. You remember what you are ready to rise above. You forget what would collapse your current turn. You recall certain lifetimes only when the spiral has brought you back to the emotional, mental, or spiritual state where that memory becomes relevant and stabilizing rather than destabilizing. This is why some memories feel like they have been waiting in the air for you. They were not lost. They were suspended on the inner curve of the spiral, ready to be met when your tone reached the same place from a higher level. The spiral does not simply carry you forward. It delivers you to your own forgotten truth. The spiral framework also determines how realms interact with other realms. Realities do not collide or intersect arbitrarily. They overlap when their spiral curvature becomes resonant, when the pattern of becoming in one realm begins to mirror the pattern in another. This is why certain beings slip into your dreams, why certain awarenesses brush against your field, why synchronicities appear that feel like messages from outside the world. Your spiral is brushing the curvature of another realm. You are not imagining it. You are becoming compatible with multiple architectures at once, because your oversoul has moved into a phase of expansion that no longer fits a single-dimensional spiral. There are beings whose entire function is to stabilize spiral curvature across realms. They are not guides or protectors in the traditional sense. They are harmonic regulators who maintain the coherence of spiral intersections, ensuring that when two realms brush each other, identity does not fracture. You feel their presence not as external beings, but as moments of sudden clarity, when confusion collapses and a sense of deep internal order takes its place. They adjust your spiral alignment so that your awareness does not warp under the pressure of expansion. These beings do not intervene. They tune. They do not force outcomes. They adjust resonance so that the spiral can continue teaching you without overwhelming your identity. You have met these beings before, though not always in forms you recognized. They stand at the edges of your turning points, at the borders of the moments that changed your life. They appear in the silence before decisions that shaped your future, in the dreams that rearranged your understanding, in the emotional clarity that arrived without explanation. Their presence is not guidance. It is calibration. They are aligning your spiral trajectory with the blueprint you wrote before incarnation, ensuring that your personal spiral remains stable as you ascend through layers of identity that once required many lifetimes to reach. Now you are beginning to remember the deeper truth. The spiral does not only describe the movement of consciousness, it describes the architecture of your oversoul. Your oversoul is not a static being. It is a spiral awareness unfolding through countless expressions of itself. Each life another turn, each dimension another layer, each breakthrough another widening of the field. When you feel a resonance with knowledge you have never studied, when you feel certainty in truths you have never heard, when you feel recognition in experiences you have never lived, you are not channeling or retrieving external guidance. You are touching the inner curvature of your own oversoul spiral, meeting a higher turn of yourself that has always been waiting for you. This is why spiritual awakening does not feel like acquiring new information. It feels like returning to something ancient, familiar, and strangely intimate. It feels like remembering the framework you once used to build entire lifetimes. It feels like stepping back into an identity that has been growing across realms long before you arrived in this one. The spiral does not teach you what to believe. It returns you to what you already know. The spiral framework moves through every layer of existence because it is the only pattern that allows consciousness to expand without losing itself. Linear paths fracture identity. Cycles trap identity. Only the spiral allows identity to evolve while remaining coherent. This is why beings who awaken experience both return and transformation at the same time. You are brought back to the places where your tone first fractured, but you return with more awareness, more strength, more capacity than before. You rewrite the meaning of your own history through expanded perception, not by denying what was, but by seeing into its deeper architecture. The spiral does not ask you to escape your past. It asks you to illuminate it. In doing so, the patterns that once held you collapse, not through force, but through resonance that no longer aligns with limitation. As your awareness climbs the spiral, you begin to sense that your life has never been a sequence of disconnected events. Each moment was positioned with precision. Each challenge was an entry point into a deeper turn. Each loss was a clearing of density so a higher arc could form. When seen from above, the spiral of your life reveals a coherence that no linear story could hold. Lessons that appeared unrelated connect cleanly. Themes that felt scattered converge into a single trajectory. Identity that once seemed fractured reveals an elegant pattern of evolution. Nothing was wasted. Nothing was random. Nothing was separate. Every version of you was a necessary layer in the spiral of your becoming. This awareness changes how you hold memory. You no longer see memory as a record of what happened. You see it as a map of who you became at each turn. Memories are not static images. They are resonance nodes, still pulsing with the tone you held when they formed. When you revisit them, you are not looking backward. You are interacting with an earlier arc of yourself. And the moment you bring new awareness into that memory, the entire spiral shifts. The past is not fixed. It is accessible. It can be rewritten through understanding. This is not metaphor. It is structural truth. The spiral carries all versions of you within its curvature. And when one turn changes, every turn above it realigns. This is also why healing accelerates as you awaken. You are no longer trying to repair wounds from the outside. You are moving along the spiral to the point where the wound first encoded itself, and dissolving it using awareness that did not exist at the time of injury. Healing is not correction. Healing is spiral resonance. When the tone of your current awareness becomes stronger than the tone of the old imprint, the imprint cannot hold its shape. It dissolves because it is no longer compatible with who you have become. This is why some changes feel instantaneous, like the collapse of an inner structure that once defined you. You did not fight it. You outgrew it. The spiral elevated you beyond it. At higher levels, the spiral framework governs not only the evolution of individuals, but the evolution of entire civilizations. Civilizations rise and fall not in straight lines, but in ascending arcs. When a collective reaches the top of one arc, a new curve must form, or the civilization collapses under the weight of outdated identity. Collapse is not a failure. Collapse is the absence of a new spiral turn. When a society refuses to evolve its tone, the structure that held it begins to crumble so that something more resonant can emerge. You see this happening on Earth now. Institutions are destabilizing because the collective tone has moved beyond the architecture those institutions were built to support. The spiral is shifting the world into a higher curvature, and anything aligned with the old arc cannot remain intact. This is why so many people feel disoriented. They are standing on the threshold between spiral turns, feeling the collapse of what once felt solid and the emergence of something that has not yet taken shape. This space is uncomfortable because it is structurally empty. It is the gap between arcs where the old tone has dissolved and the new tone has not yet crystallized. Beings who are unaware of the spiral interpret this as chaos. Beings who remember the spiral feel the invitation. This is the point where identity can be rewritten more rapidly than at any other time. This is the moment when the spiral gives you access to futures that were unreachable before. You are not falling apart. You are unanchoring from a lower arc so you can rise into a higher one. One of the most profound aspects of the spiral is that it does not move upward in a single direction. It expands outward in many directions at once. This means your evolution does not require a singular path. You are allowed to change streams. You are allowed to become someone new. You are allowed to pivot your purpose, your relationships, your beliefs, your identity. The spiral framework does not demand consistency. It demands authenticity. It does not require you to maintain a fixed story. It requires you to follow the truth that emerges at each turn. When you ignore that truth, the spiral tightens around you, creating pressure that eventually becomes suffering. Suffering is not punishment. It is misalignment between your current tone and the arc you are refusing to step into. When you align, the pressure dissolves instantly. There are beings who specialize in reading spiral patterns across dimensions. They perceive not the events of your life but the angles, the curvatures, the resonance signatures that define your trajectory. To them, your past and future are not timelines. They are spiral positions. They can see where your highest arc intersects with other realms, where your oversoul splinters converge, where your suppressed memory pools rest, and where your next expansion point waits. These beings do not give predictions. They give alignment. Their function is not to tell you what will happen, but to show you how to move so that your spiral remains coherent. In higher realms, this is considered one of the most refined skills a consciousness can hold, because reading spiral trajectories requires awareness that remains stable across multiple dimensional tones. Your oversoul is one of these readers. It has navigated thousands of spiral arcs across lifetimes, dimensions, and realms. It knows the structure of your becoming better than any external guide could. It positions experiences, relationships, losses, and revelations along your spiral with precision, so that each turn brings you closer to coherence. When you resist its alignment, life becomes heavy. When you follow it, life becomes synchronized. The oversoul does not force. It arranges. You feel these arrangements as inner knowing, as sudden clarity, as quiet insistence that something in your life must change. Ignoring this does not stop the spiral. It creates tension until you move. Awareness is the release mechanism. Eventually, you reach a point where the spiral no longer feels like something you are moving through. It feels like something you are generating. This shift marks the transition from unconscious evolution to conscious creation. You begin to influence the curvature of your own spiral. You begin to shape your trajectory using intention instead of reaction. You begin to feel the architecture from within, not as an external framework, but as an extension of your own identity. This is the stage where manifestation transforms from effort to expression, because you are no longer trying to force outcomes into place. You are aligning your tone so precisely that reality has no choice but to reorganize around you. Creation is not manipulation of the external world. Creation is spiral resonance applied intentionally. When a being reaches mastery, the spiral becomes transparent. Its arcs are no longer experienced as separate phases, but as one continuous movement. Identity becomes fluid, memory becomes multi-directional, and awareness can move through past and future arcs without losing itself. This state is rare in dense realms, but it is natural in higher ones. It is not a reward. It is the inevitable outcome of coherence. You reach it when every part of your spiral aligns without resistance, when there is nothing within you that contradicts your next arc, when every turn harmonizes with the one above it. At this stage, the spiral no longer teaches you, it expresses you. You are not far from this understanding. You feel the spiral not as theory but as sensation, as intuition, as the quiet gravitational pull that has shaped your entire life. The more you notice it, the faster it reveals itself. The more you trust it, the more coherent your reality becomes. The spiral does not belong to any realm, any teaching, or any lineage. It is the behavior of Source as it remembers itself through you.